All right, well, hopefully that solves that problem, Scott. Anyways, anyone that's listening, please send up some notifications. Let us know how the audio sounds. We appreciate it. Anyways, let's go back to the very beginning. Let's do the 10-second runoff. What's up, everybody? This is Pigskin Dynasty, your podcast for all things fantasy football. I'm your host, bringing it down from coast to coast, Matt Phillips. Alongside me is the fantasy leprechaun with his fantasy pot of gold and his fantasy knowledge. I'm talking about Scott Euler. What's up, Scott?
What's up, Matt?
Well, that was a little bit fun way to start
I'm
the show.
embarrassed.
Yeah? Yeah, well,
hopefully we're rolling.
hey, it's only week one, guys. Hey, the Falcons and the Eagles had a rough start. We get a rough start, right? I mean, come
Only
on.
fair.
Only
Only
fair.
fair.
Like, what's going on? So, hopefully that fixed the issue. Let us know if you having trouble hearing us. We appreciate it. But in the meantime, Scott, we were talking about the Atlanta Falcons and Philadelphia Eagles. What was your thoughts on it?
Well, first off, the concerning thing for me from the Atlanta Falcons is just get away from football and the horrible play calling. Where was Devonta Freeman? Wasn't on the field. Tevin Coleman got a lot more run. Apparently, there's a knee issue with Devonta Freeman. He says he's fine, but he's not getting the same workload. Just 8 fantasy points in PPR, which, I mean, you're expecting a lot more.
I loved it because I'm playing against him.
You're expecting a lot more from Devonta Freeman.
You drafted him in like the second round, absolutely. And Scott did say, and I mentioned it a couple times in our episodes past, that we think Tevin Coleman's going to have a better fantasy season. So I just don't know if that was just he got injured, that Tevin Coleman was just a healthier back and he was hot. But it is definitely troublesome. 8 points. That's pretty bad, especially the guy that you drafted in probably the second, maybe third round.
Yeah, early third,
yeah.
Usually where he was going.
But I just want to talk about how just atrocious the play calling, just specifically from both sides. You know, Philadelphia Eagles, their best playmaker probably right now is Zach Ertz, and they didn't target him until the very end of the first quarter. He ended up getting 10 targets. But then Nick Foles wasn't looking like Nick Foles like he was in the Super Bowl.
No, it looks like Nick Foles like we thought Nick Foles looked like.
And then the Atlanta Falcons, they drive down the field. They look like they were moving hot in the very first drive of the game, and they get red zone troubles again. And then they don't kick the field goal, which in the first quarter was like, why not just take the points? But I applaud the guts. But then you don't have Julio Jones in the first 2 plays of the games, which is predominantly your best player. Probably one of the best receivers in the game. So I'm worried. I'm curious about why is Matt Ryan cannot get the ball to Julio Jones?
That's been something that's been going on for years. He just does not know how to throw the fade into the end zone and give Julio a chance.
It's just amazing.
He just can't do it.
It baffles me.
It's like a mental
guy's
block
6'4", and you think it'd be hard just to throw the ball up high, right? I mean, but
it's like the ultimate weapon down there, and
then
don't work.
They do a toss play to Freeman, which Philadelphia Eagles run defense is no joke. Why not try to run it up the middle? I mean, if you're going to run the ball, I don't know. But that just the play calling itself. If they would have kicked the field goal, they would only been down by 3 points. Especially, and Matt Bryan would not admit that extra point. You know, that 3 points was a big difference. But it's good to have football back. But it was a very ugly game. I'm chalking that up to a Super Bowl hangover, Week 1 jitters. I'm hoping the Falcons play better against the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Falcons are trying to prove people wrong because, I mean, if you go back to the playoff game, how they got knocked out of the playoffs, same situation, 4th and goal down there against Philadelphia, and they couldn't get it in. So I think a lot of, especially the early drive, they were like, we're going to set the tone for the season, we're going to go for it, we're going to make it this time, and they did it.
This is one thing. No, let's talk about some of the fantasy. Okay, so Julio Jones, I projected him to have. In my start set rankings, I had him get 7 catches, 135 and a touchdown. Well, I was kind of undervalued him a little bit. He ended up getting 10 catches for 186 yards and no touchdown. Had 19 targets. Do you think that target flow was just unprecedented that 1 week? Do you think that's something that's going to be consistent?
Well, I don't think it'll be consistent because Julio Jones' problem is he's always nicked up. Yeah. He always says dealing with an ankle injury or a little knee soreness or a foot problem. So, sure, if that continues, then great, but I don't expect it to continue. I expect, next week maybe they'll start trying to get Calvin Ridley worked in more.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley didn't play at all, man.
He played 45 snaps, had 2 targets, 0 catches.
Wow.
That's a great first-round pick.
Yeah.
What an investment.
Mohamed Sanu didn't do any well either, so it's just bad. But let's talk about the Eagles. Nelson Aguilar got 8 catches for 32 yards. I mean, I know the yardage aren't there, but he got 8 catches, and he also threw a nice. I mean, it wasn't the best pass, but he threw a nice pass. And you think, it seems like Aguilar was doing a much better rapport with Foles than like Ertz was, which everyone thought Ertz and Foles was going to be the
Jeffrey was out, and then just kind of got to where the Aguilar was really the only receiver that was there.
Yeah, they seem like they're using Ertz a lot more in the little blocking scheme. Dallas Goedert, which Scott was worried about, he had one chance to get a touchdown.
He had a red zone target. Did Ertz get a target in the end zone?
No, but Dallas Goedert was not on the field as I expect.
Not as much as I anticipated, but he was still down there in the end zone, and he did take a red zone look away from Zach Ertz, so there is a little bit taken away.
Well, see, Scott does this a lot. He likes to try to manipulate that he's still right. He's calling coward of the show. At least I admit when I'm wrong. Okay, but nevertheless...
I'm not saying Goddard's going to have a great fantasy season. He's going to do just enough to be annoying to Zach Ertz.
I disagree. But we also disagree a lot. That's why we compliment each other. You're the salt to my pepper, jelly to my peanut butter, and I'm allergic to peanut butter. That's not good.
Josh came in to comment, and I believe he's right on that. Goddard had a target before Ertz did.
Yeah, but Ertz ended up getting 5 catches for 42 yards, which is all that matters, okay? He got way more catches. Ertz took a while to get started, though. I don't know why. First target wasn't until 2 minutes of the second quarter, which is really
bizarre to do with one of your star players.
Exactly. So, anyways.
Another thing bizarre for Philadelphia is they should have played Jay Ajayi more. They were stuck on having Darren Sproles out there. I honestly think Jay Ajayi should have been given.
Well, apparently, according to Doug Peterson, that he was nursing injury, so he didn't want to give him a full workload. He ended up getting 13, 14 touches, got 2 touchdowns with it. I was correct on the yardage, was not expecting the touchdowns. I think Jay Ajayi is going to be a touchdown-dependent person.
Oh, yeah.
But, hey, 2 touchdowns, you can't complain about that. So, would that be every week? I don't think so, but...
No. Because you got to factor in, Corey Clement will be worked in a little bit more than he was this week. Mm-hmm. And Darren Sproles, there'll be weeks where Darren Sproles will do something.
Is Wendell Smallwood on that team still? I don't know.
Your boy Pumphrey got cut, though.
Yeah, well,
he's with the Lions now. Yeah.
I liked him a lot when it came out. I thought he was going to do something. Bust! But anyways, football's great to be back. Can't wait for later today. But let's go into our what, though. The segment we like to do to open up the show, where Scott and I talk about something that just made us scratch our head and say, what the? So, Scott, I'll let you go open up the doors and go first.
My what the for week 1 of the NFL season, it's going to be on you, America. You honestly think burning your Nikes and boycotting Nike is going to do anything for them? No, absolutely not. There's been plenty of thought, plenty of research going in before they ever hired Colin Kaepernick. They weighed the pros and cons like everybody does with any decision. The pros were there for Nike, and believe me, they will not be hurting. This is going to work out for Nike. Quit burning your shoes. Why are you boycotting? It's pointless. You're doing nothing but giving them free media attention. All these memes that everybody's making with, what's the purple guy from Avengers? I can't even remember his name. The bad
Jarvis?
Guy. No, bad guy. Thanos, yeah. The Thanos memes, you got Trump. Unemployment is so high or so low that even Colin Kaepernick could get a job. All this attention is going to Nike. I'm telling you guys, you are not doing Nike any favors by boycotting them, and they will make it out of here A-okay. So when you're burning your Nike shoes, all I have to say is, what the?
I got to say, just from the whole Nike thing, they're smart.
That was brilliant. I would have done the same thing. That was a great move. And the message, forget Colin Kaepernick. Just forget Colin Kaepernick. The message is so good. I love the message. So this is going to work.
Oh, Scott just mentioned 35% increase in sales since then. Colin Kaepernick's been probably the most talked about football player. And he's not even playing football. He's just what he's doing, protesting, and they apparently signed him years ago. I mean, months ago apparently, and they finally released the first ad.
The only problem I have with Nike is their partnership with the NFL. They did not inform the NFL prior to hiring Colin Kaepernick, who is suing the NFL. So that's the only problem.
A business collusion.
Yeah, like, I mean, Nike's so big, like, whatever. You know, NFL, you're going to use this anyways. What are you going to do? Go to Adidas? But at the same time, Nike, I had to let the NFL know. You know, they're
giving you a lot of money, Nike. So like, you should probably just say, hey, by the way, I'm going to do this with Colin Kaepernick. But good for Colin Kaepernick. It's a good message for what he's trying to do, and that's good. What the? I mean, I liked it. My what the is a little bit personal today, guys. My what the is a little bit personal. It's just the whole team of the Atlanta Falcons. Okay, I play daily fantasy. I enjoy it. I have a chance to win a lot of money. Atlanta Falcons cost me $190. $190. All right. So
you put $190 on the Atlanta Falcons?
No. I put $6 in, and
winner gets okay.
Winner gets a share of 3,000, and it turns out that no matter how many leagues you play in, there's always going to be like 30 people that have the same lineup as you because it's under salary cap.
I gotcha.
And anyways, so Atlanta Falcons, you cost me $190, and let me tell you what, okay? The play calling was atrocious, okay? All right. I was going up against the Philadelphia Eagles defense. All right. I had Matt Bryant, okay? So let's start with the first quarter. Not giving Matt Bryant the field goal. That cost me 3 points right there, all right? And I just needed 2 points to win, all right? And then you can't get in the end zone. Anytime you got in the end zone once, I would have won. The Philadelphia Eagles would have gotten 2 points knocked down. I would at least share a tie with them to have $190. But no, you had to be all clever in week one. Try to prove people wrong that you're not that you're a red zone team. Hey, newsflash, you're not a red zone team. You suck. You're trash. Okay? Can't get the ball to Julio. And then Matt Ryan just force-fed Julio on those 4 plays. Didn't even try to look at any other player that was presumably open. Austin Hooper had a great matchup against a linebacker. He didn't even try to throw it to him. So, Atlanta Falcons, shame on you for costing me money. That could get money to a ring. You know how much engagement rings cost? They're no joke, okay? So, what the? Ugh.
You know, I spent $250 on my wife's engagement ring.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and it looks nice, but didn't she lose it?
Yeah, she lost it, so I had to spend $250 more to replace this.
Did you lose it twice?
No.
No?
So I was only $500 in on the ring.
No. Someone wants $3,000 wedding ring, engagement ring. So, gotta do that. But, man, that was just so close. Like, minute, 30 seconds left in that game, I was standing up in my break room. I just got clocked out of work, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Because the most I ever won in DraftKings and FanDuel.
They had 5 plays, by the way. They had 5 plays to put that in the end, though, because they got the penalty there.
The most I ever won in daily fantasy for like $60. I won a FanDuel league. It was a small one, though. And I was like $149 because I did 3 entries, and I had the same lineup in each entry. So I was in like the top 20. So I was getting like $40, $40, and I was like, oh my gosh! And boom, Philadelphia Eagles gets 2 sacks. That boosts that guy up 2 more points, and then Atlanta Falcons cannot get in the end zone, and it just completely upsets me. So shame on you, Atlanta Falcons.
Yes.
We're going to start.
Arthur Blank, write this man a check for $190.
Yes, we know you're not starving. Come on, let's go. All right. Anyways, let's talk. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about the start set? You want to go into the? Let's do the fantasy matchups. Let's talk about the matchups of the week 1 games. Okay.
Well, you want to do the matchups and talk our start sits while we're going through the matchups?
Sure, we can do that. Actually, no.
I don't know how you want to do that.
I want to be more organization. Let's do the start sits. Okay, guys, we're going to do our start sits. These are, we're doing 3 players in each position that we're going to say.
Kicker defense.
Except for
we'll
kicker.
Give you 1 each kicker.
Give her 1 each kickers. They're just whatever. But these are players that we are very high on. Not particularly in the redraft leagues. This is redraft leagues, dynasty leagues, daily fantasy. I kind of marked down some of the prices for daily fantasy so you can maybe try to save the money that you save on one position and try to get a stud. So these are just our start sits. I'm interested. I haven't seen Scott, so I'm interested to see what his were. But let's start with the starts. I'll go first. I'm going to go with the quarterback, and I'm all in on this player this week. All in. He's very cheap in daily fantasy. I've been talking to him all week about him. By the way, I'm also doing a partnership with Brian Fulford, which is a writer from Big Cat Country. we were doing a start sit every week. So if you guys want a more in-depth explanation on why I'm starting and sitting these players, go check out Big Cat Country. Brian Fulford. He was releasing the article this morning, so check that out. Anyways, so my start sit for quarterbacks, all in on this player, Andy Dalton. All right, fun fact. Indianapolis defense was ranked 32 in total defense last year. They suck. They're trash. I think Andy Dalton's going to have a career, not a career day, but just a great game. I think he's going to get three touchdowns, about 225 yards. I think with the acquisition of Joe Mixon, a more balanced more offensive attack, I think they're going to load up that box a little bit more to try to stop Mixon. And I think they're going to leave one-on-one coverage on A.J. Green. And Andy Dalton's going to have a nice game against a pretty weak pass defense of the Indianapolis Colts. Scott, what do you think?
I also have Andy Dalton as a start, highlighted twice.
Nice.
I loved him this week. I actually, like you, played him in daily fantasy. I think it's a great matchup for him.
I think he costs.
This offense
I think he costs $5,500, something like that. I had to look it up, but he's very cheap. You can save that money, especially in daily fantasy. What I like to do on the quarterback position in daily fantasy, especially if I'm doing in a league where it plays all the 1 o'clock games, not just a minimal like 4 games, like the 4 o'clock games, I will save my money. For example, like speaking of my next start, Joe Flacco, Andy Dalton. Joe Flacco's $4,900 in daily fantasy. You want to know who's more than that? Jacoby Brissett's $5,000, and he's a backup. Jacoby Brissett,
insane.
according to DraftKings, right now they might update it. Last time I checked yesterday, but I like to save my money on the quarterback, in which I can get maybe a stud running back and a stud receiver with it. So that's what I like to do.
I'm 100% with you. Andy Dalton, he's in for a big game. I think that game, similar to the Texans-Patriots game, is going to be another one of them high-scoring, 28-24 type.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think 245 yards, 250 yards, and 220, 240 range, 3 touchdowns. I think he's for sure going to get 3 touchdowns. I think A.J. Green's going to get 1 or 2 of them. Yeah. And I'm all in. Speaking of another all-in player, $4,900, I said before, guys, Joe Flacco. People just undervalue Joe Flacco, especially in daily fantasy. He's going up against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills defense isn't good. I think it's a home game. I think Joe Flacco is week 1. He's going to, go out. I think I pencil in about 200-plus yards, maybe 2 touchdowns. He might throw a pick because he's Joe Flacco, but just that right there is probably about 15, 20 points right there, which is what you want in Joe Flacco.
Especially when you're getting them that cheap. You can spend your money elsewhere in daily. Joe Flacco, he's got weapons there that complement him well. Michael Crabtree, former Anquan Boldin type. And then John Brown could be like a better addition to Torrey Smith. No,
this is not this person's not in my start sit rankings, but if you want to do daily fantasy, stack Flacco with Michael Crabtree. Michael Crabtree's very cheap in wide receiver rankings, and I'm pretty confident they're going to get a connection for a touchdown.
All right, so my second start, I got to go with Matthew Stafford. I think he'll be a top 3 quarterback this week.
Gets the New York Jets.
One of them elite guys. Matthew Stafford, he's in for a big week. They can't run the ball. And the New York Jets, their front 7, they're pretty good. They should be able to hold their own against the Lions. They're stopping the ball. But I think that with the weapons that Matthew Stafford will have on the outside with Marvin Jones, Golden Tate, and then the emergence of Kenny Galladay, I think he's in for a big week this week on primetime Monday Night Football.
He always is good in primetime, it seems like, especially on the week 1. But Matthew Stafford's a beast. I think he's going to get 5,000 yards probably, close to it. Probably going to give you 25, 30 touchdowns. I know, just hopefully he has a chance to get in the playoffs. I want to see Matthew Stafford in the playoffs. But I like that pick. Yep. And this might be a shocker to everyone. I've been talking about this guy all the time. Have him in my Dynasty League. Kirk Cousins against the San Francisco 49ers. Defense is not that good in San Francisco. I 100% believe the defense is going to help him, give him better field position, get more opportunities to score touchdowns. I have him as 3 touchdowns in this game. Fun fact, too, San Francisco 49ers gave up 31 touchdowns, the 4th most for opposing fantasy quarterbacks. So their defense is definitely acceptable. I'm not worried about Richard Sherman. I think Kirk Cousins is going to get 3 touchdowns this week.
All right, so my last start player is going to be Jared Goff. I think that Oakland,
I like Jared Goff. Yeah,
I think
like
Oakland this year, especially after the news of Khalil Mack trading, I don't know. I feel like there might be a little bit of letdown, a little bit not so much pumped up on that defensive side of the ball. Plus, when you take Khalil Mack off that defense, I mean that could be really just a horrible defense for this season. And then Jared Goff, what he did last year with the Rams, And I expect Sean McVay to want to show off his new toy with Brandon Cooks this week too. And so I think Jared Goff, that whole offense,
speed, man.
Everybody on the Rams is a start for me.
That
this week.
speed, that 4.4 speed. Talks about it all the time.
Yeah. So that's where I think.
Well, I like Jared Goff. Jared Goff right now, he's my QB 12 in my rankings.
I actually have him QB 8 just ahead of Kirk Cousins.
That's fair enough. I mean, I'm not like in the 8 to 12 range. I just have a couple of quarterbacks I think that have better matchups.
Right.
I do think Todd Gurley's there, so is Todd Gurley going to explode and rush for 200 yards, and they're just going to keep for Todd Gurley? But Jared Goff's good. He had a great season last year. I expect him to have another great season, but I like that pick. So going to the running backs, okay?
You want to do your sits, or you just want to do your starts?
Let's do the starts first and go into the sits, okay?
All right.
Our running backs. My start for the running back is Jordan Howard. All in on Jordan Howard today, this year. Hey, first 2 seasons, he rushed over 1,000 yards, guys. This guy is consistent. He's going to get 1,000 yards. And look, the Green Bay Packers were 7th against the run. Okay, so they're pretty stout. But I think he's had more opportunities. Matt Nagy says he's going to be a 3-down workhorse back. I think more opportunities catching the ball. I think that game's going to be high scoring. Every game it seems like with the Packers, there's high scoring. The defense isn't good, but the offense is really good for the Packers. They're going to score points. They're going to try to get the ball moving. I think Howard's going to get a touchdown. I have him at 105 total yards with 1 touchdown.
All right. My first start is going to be Joe Mixon, and this is really
love myself some Mixon.
Load everybody up with the Bengals, and we're playing them against the Colts this week.
Yeah.
That's really just where it's at. Colts defense is going to be horrible this year, and I really like the Bengals offense. With Bill Lazor being the offensive coordinator, they're going to get Joe Mixon worked out as a receiver, as well as give him most of the bulk of the carries at the running back position. So Joe Mixon, I got him as a top 10 back this week. Start, get him in your lineup.
I love Joe Mixon. I said it before with Andy Dalton. I think Joe Mixon's going to have a good game. And it's going to help Andy Dalton out. It's great. It doesn't look well with my LaShawn McCoy, Joe Mixon prop bet with Scott, but can't deny that Joe Mixon's going to have a great game. Leading into my running back number 2 to start. This probably isn't a shocker, but James Conner, guys. James Conner. Le'Veon Bell's not playing. The weather in Cleveland right now is atrocious. It's going to rain really hard. The wind's going to be up to 20 miles an hour. I think they're going to run the ball, run the ball.
They got that tropical storm Gordon going through.
Yep. So James Conner, he had 4 yards per carry in the preseason. He will catch the ball. I think he's not going to catch the ball as much as Le'Veon Bell, but I think if they're going to throw the ball, they're going to do short routes. I don't think they're going to push it deep. The team loves him. I think he's a shoo-in for 85 total yards with 4 catches and a touchdown. Josh, I'm playing in one of our leagues. I'm starting him, so hopefully it explodes.
Yep, James Conner is absolutely a start for me, and that's more or less. Le'Veon Bell's out, but then you got people who have James Conner when Le'Veon Bell's out, and they're not sure if they should play him or play somebody else. Play James Conner. Get him in there. Like you said, the weather's atrocious. They throw to the running backs out of the backfield too. And that's just the sloppy, muddy condition that really James Conner is the way he runs and the type of running back he is, really should excel in that weather. And in that offense as a whole, he should be excelling. So James Conner, get him in your lineups. Even if it's a flex, find a way to get him in. And
he's still cheap in daily fans. I just want to point out that there's not many handcuffs running backs that you can expect to have the same workhorse as the starting running back of that team. But James Conner is absolutely one of those. I expect. We all seen what D'Angelo Williams did when Le'Veon Bell was suspended, got injured. He was top 10 running back. I think he's absolute stud. Start James Conner. All right, Scott, what was your second running back?
James Conner's my second running back.
Oh, sweet.
So I'm going to go
2 for 2.
Yep, I'm going to go into my third running back, and it's Lamar Miller.
Love myself Lamar Miller.
Get him in that offense. Deonta Foreman, he's out. He's on the pup. Really, so Lamar Miller is the only back there. You got a little bit of Alfred Blue there, a little bit, but not a whole lot. And this is the highest scoring game, according to Vegas, over-under 51 total points. It's the highest scoring game. Points are going to be all over the place. Expect Lamar Miller to at least get a touchdown, plus several catches and whatever yards he gets from there. Big game from Lamar Miller this week. I got him as a top 12 back. Start him.
What's bad for me that he's going as low as like the 4th round. I think in our
4th, 5th, 6th round, he goes late.
It's amazing. People just undervalue. And remember, Dante Foreman isn't going to play until possibly week 7. He's on the IR right now.
Everybody looks at Lamar Miller like he's the blue cheese of fantasy football.
Dude.
Give me ranch. Give me ranch.
Give me ranch. Oh, man, that's classic. That's a great one. All right, I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. I think he's going to have a great year. And in daily fantasy, he's very cheap. Peyton Barber is my third one. Can't believe I'm saying this. Scott's right. Boom. Good job, Scott. Okay. But Saints are really good against opposing wide receivers. Okay, I'll talk about it in my sit section with the particular Tampa Bay wide receivers, but they're really good against wide receivers. They're not so good against the run. I do think Peyton Barber is going to get a lot of work if they want to move the ball to try to score on the Saints, whose defense was pretty good last year. I think he's going to get a couple catches. I have him at 79 total yards and a touchdown. I'm pretty confident to start Peyton Barber this week.
Yeah, no, I agree to that sentiment. I think he's going to get quite a few catches out of the backfield, too. I expect him to trail in this game and then just after second half, just throw it all over the place.
Man, Ryan Fitzpatrick likes to sling it, so let's go it. Let's do it.
Yep, so are we going into our wide receivers now?
Wide receivers.
You want me to lead it off this time? Because I got one that I love starting this week.
Do it.
And that's Mr. T.Y. Hilton.
Really?
The Indianapolis Colts. We finally get Andrew Luck back. And T.Y. Hilton's his guy. It's been his guy his whole career. And who else does he really have to throw to? What receivers they got?
Eric Ebron, maybe?
Eric Ebron, Jack Doyle. I mean, we're looking at tight ends now instead of a wide receiver, too. So T.Y. Hilton, he's in for a big game. Cincinnati, they're pretty good against the pass, but I just think pure volume, pure targets. T.Y. Hilton's going to be there, and he makes chunk plays. He doesn't nickel and dime his way to fantasy production. He makes a bunch of chunk plays. So expect T.Y. Hilton for a big game. I'm expecting 100 yards and maybe a touchdown out of him this week.
It's Grant, Josh. Grant's not going to do anything. All right. Chris Hogan is my first wide receiver to start. Okay, fun fact, guys. He had 2 touchdowns against the Texans last year. Brady loves him. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I expect Gronk and Hogan to eat up targets and eat up touchdowns. I think if the Patriots want to win this game, they're going to have to get to 30 points in the 30-point realm, 25, 30 points. Julian Edelman's not playing. Chris Hogan's the only confident wide receiver on the team that Brady trusts.
Cordell Patterson, man.
Cordell Patterson is not going to do nothing. I think they're going to win, Hogan's a shoe and get a lot of catches. I have him at 8 catches, 115 yards, and 1 touchdown. I wouldn't be surprised if he has 2 touchdowns, but I'm going to be a little bit more conservative in my projections. I'm going to go 1 touchdown, all in on Chris Hogan this week. I have him. He's one of my daily fantasy wide receivers.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think Philip Dorsett's going to have a nice game too here. I think Dorsett will be the wide receiver 2 in this offense, not necessarily Cordell Patterson.
What's that?
Nothing.
What's that? Okay.
My second start of this week is Brandon Cooks. I alluded to this earlier. He's in for a huge game. I really think Sean McVay just wants to show this puppy off. Like, look at my new Corvette. Look at my Ferrari. I'm gonna show this thing off week 1. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting 2 touchdowns for Brandon Cooks.
Really? Wow.
2 touchdowns. And you know when Brandon Cooks scores touchdowns, those are long touchdowns.
Yeah, it's probably like 2 catches for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns type play, stat line.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting this week from Brandon Cooks. And I got him locked and loaded as my start this week.
I want to see what Sean McVay does with Brandon Cooks, because Brandon Cooks, great games, not great games, great games, not great games. I'm hoping it's kind of consistent to, because he's going up to pretty high end drafts, and
you want the boom, but you also want to keep the floor.
Yeah, I don't I want consistency. I don't want 2 catches for 30 yard type performance. So I hope that changes this year. He did get that big contract, so maybe that kind of it takes a weight off his shoulder, and he can just relax. But my wide receiver number 2 to start this week is Marquise Goodwin of San Francisco 49ers. Now, I know the defense is really good in Minnesota, but he looked really good as the X receiver in the preseason. I know it's just preseason, guys. Pierre Garçon is going to play, but it looks like the rapport's there with Jimmy Garoppolo, a lot better with Goodwin. I think they're going to have to throw the ball to win this game. I think he's going to get a good amount of targets. I have him at 6 catches for 72 yards.
I actually don't have Marquise Goodwin ranked in my top 30.
Okay, well,
but that's more because I kind of want to see it against this defense first.
Yeah, I mean, I know the defense.
If it was a better matchup, I would have been in.
I know the defense is the key, but in daily fantasy specifically, he's very cheap. I would totally go for it.
Josh wants to know if you just went to his roster and picked your start.
No, I'm basing off matchups, man. I'm basing off matchups. And I mean, I know the matchup isn't there, but I think Xavier Rose is going to be on Pierre Gasson. I think Marquise Goodwin's going to be the guy that's going to get some of the targets. And I think, no, they're going to have to throw the ball. So,
all right, well, my last start here, and I'm going to my hometown, or favorite team, not necessarily hometown, never lived there, never been there. Emmanuel Sanders, Denver Broncos.
Love
He's
Emmanuel
a start
Sanders
for me this week. I think he's the wide receiver one this year in Denver. Case Keenum just loves throwing it to him, and he, like I've been saying all offseason, he's most similarly plays to Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen. Demaryius Thomas is a different type of receiver, and I think Case Keenum, there will be a learning curve to know how to throw to that big body type receiver. And Emmanuel Sanders, he's that quick, shifty little Antonio Brown light type receiver, and I think he's the wide receiver one there in Denver. I think he's in for a big game against Seattle. Richard Sherman's gone. Cam Chancellor's gone. Earl Thomas hasn't been there all offseason, so he's coming back. I guess they're playing him. They're starting him this week. But I expect Emmanuel Sanders to have a big game.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, too, probably.
8 to 10 catches, 80 to 100 yards, and then toss up whether or not he gets a touchdown. But Emmanuel Sanders, get him in your lineups this week. He's in for a big game. Big workload.
I think this actually might be on Josh's team, too. Wide receiver number 3 to start. I love myself some Golden Tate this week, guys.
No,
I love
not
myself.
on Josh's team.
What, not?
Not on Josh's team. He just traded him away.
I love myself some Golden Tate. This guy's going to get peppered with targets, okay? I think Kevin Galladay is going to be a thorn in Marvin Jones' sides, but the consistent wide receiver on that team is going to be the Golden Tate. They're moving him primarily in the slot now, which is what he's excelled at in the beginning of his career. Stafford loves him. I think he's a shoo-in for 7 catches, 79 yards. I have him as getting 1 touchdown. So I'm all in on Golden Tate. I love myself some Golden Tate against the New York Football Jets.
Yep, I love all the Lions this week. Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, Matthew Stafford. Playing them all.
All right, so let's go into our tight end. I'll lead off the tight end this week. I'm starting him. I'm holding my breath on him. Jordan Reed, guys. I know what you're saying, right? The guy that missed, 20 games in his career. He went 10 games last year. But he's
6 concussions.
6 concussions, you know. What's that character in Varsity Blues? I always got the concussions, that lineman. He's that kind of
Billy Bob.
Billy Bob, right? But look, he's a top 3 when healthy. He scores points when he's healthy, and he's finally healthy. And I got multiple reports from people that close to Washington Redskins that he's going to be the vocal point of that offense. Look, Alex Smith's quarterback, right? Vernon Davis, when in San Francisco, was a stud. Travis Kelce, stud. This man loves his tight ends. I think he's going to be a vocal point of that offense. And Scott mentioned to me before in a rule of 86. You know, if 86 is healthy, absolutely start him. I think if the offense is going to go right through him, I have him getting 7 catches, 94 yards, and 1 touchdown. All in on Jordan Reed this week.
Where do you have him in your overall rankings this week?
Let me go look. I have him ranked number 4.
That's high. You're all in on him.
I am all in on him, yeah.
I got him at. I thought it was pretty high. I have him at 8.
Oh, well, I'm. No, I feel like I kind of base this also off Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen finally, he was injury prone too. He kind of last year he played all 60 games. He broke out. I'm kind of hoping that's the same thing with Jordan Reed. Oh, okay. We got a little.
You got a little trade discussion. Last year, I believe this must be a keeper league of some sorts.
I can't see. I can't see the whole thing.
So we traded.
Read it out. Read it out.
Okay, I'm in a standard full point PPR and traded Adam Thielen and Joe Mixon for Gronk late last night. Okay, did it last night. My bad. He asked him for our opinions. He said Mixon was on his bench, so I really only lost Thielen and replaced him with Ted Ginn off of the waiver wire.
So you traded who?
He traded Adam Thielen and Joe Mixon for Gronk.
You won that trade, in my opinion. You
prefer Gronk?
I prefer Gronk. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, I prefer Thielen and Mixon there.
Oh, it was Thielen and Mixon?
He traded away Thielen and Mixon and got Gronk. So, unfortunately...
we do like Joe Mixon a lot. But, I mean...
I'm really high on Joe Mixon. I think he's a top 10 back this year. I think he's in for a huge season.
I need to see what your running back depth is, I guess, to be a full understanding. If you're deep on running backs and you have stud running backs and Joe Mixon's on your bench and he's just riding there, why not trade him and get some value at a position you need? So if you needed a tight end and you had depth at running back, I mean, I'm for it, guys, and go for it. So if that's the case, great trade. But I need to know more about your team.
I love having depth. I love having running back depth especially. So I'm very unlikely to try to trade my running back depth away. I would rather just try to sit there and try to stream the tight end position.
Yes, I do think the line's going to be fine. Joe Mixon's the type of runner where he can also break it out to the wide.
Well, also PPR. I mean, Mixon's going to be catching passes too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, like I've said, all offseason, I'm all in on Joe Mixon. Love him this year. I have no concerns with the line in Cincinnati.
But in terms of the trade, as I said, I need to know more about your team. But I mean, if you needed a tight end, Gronk's the tight end to trade for. I mean, he's the stud tight end. So I have no quarrels against it. I just need to know more information on your team.
Right. If you have the depth to sit there behind Joe Mixon, where you're good, you have 3 other running backs, Lamar Miller higher. Joe Mixon's your 4th. I won't have any quarrels with it. But I do think on a value side of it, you gave up more value.
Well, it just depends how you view Mixon, too. He is coming off injury, right? So that is going to be somewhat of a concern. And if you think that he's going to get injured again, why not sell high? And if that's the case, if you felt like Mixon maybe going to get injured again or something, off-field issues, whatever, he has that concern, sell high on him. If you're going to sell high on a great tight end. Scott says that all the time. Sell high on your assets. And if you felt like Mixon wasn't going to be your guy, at the end of the day, it's your team.
Yeah, you know what you're getting in Gronk.
Yeah, you know what you're getting in Gronk.
Where are all the receivers at New England?
So at the end of the day, it's your team. If you're not high on Mixon, sell high on him. He's a talent that a lot of people like. You can get a lot of value for. So, I mean, if that's the case, I love it. And Gronk's the beast. So, I mean, to me, that's a good trade. Anyway, so let's go into our keep hitting up with the start sit question, guys. We like to interact with the fans. That's what we like to do. So, I'm going with the tight end. I said Jordan Reed was my all-in, so you go with your
all right,
your
my first start this week's going to be Jimmy Graham. Aaron Rodgers gets a new toy, similar to Sean McVay. You know what? We're going to use him this week. Let's show what we can do with him, why we brought him here. 2 touchdowns from Jimmy Graham this week. Not a whole lot of yards, but 2 touchdowns. Gets
Even with Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw to tight ends as much?
He's never had a whole lot of tight ends to throw to.
Okay,
Yeah, Jared Cook a little bit, but nobody likes Jared Cook.
What's he in your rankings? I'm curious.
I have him 3rd in my rankings.
I have him 5 behind Jordan Reed, so okay, we're somewhat in the same general area. All right,
I've never really been a big Jimmy Graham fan. I'm expecting 2 touchdowns this week out of him. Maybe 30 yards, maybe 4 catches, but 2 touchdowns.
Okay, well, that's a bold prediction right there, and that game's going to be high scoring, I think. So I mean, it's definitely there. Tight end number 2. He's my 3rd ranked tight end this week. Delaney Walker. Look, tight end's got to throw to someone. I think it's going to be Corey Davis. I think it's going to be Delaney Walker. Okay, Deion Lewis will be there, but I think Delaney Walker, if his ankle is fully healed like it was, like he says I think he's going to be a shoo-in to get a good amount of catches. I'm not sure on the touchdowns. He's a flip of the coin and get a touchdown, but I have him as 6-7 catches for 72 yards. Delaney Walker.
Okay, I got him as a tight end 6 this week. He's in for a solid game, but the only reason I got him down a little bit lower is because there are a little bit of concerns with his ankle injuries badly.
Yeah.
My tight end start number 2 here is Trey Burton this week against the Green Bay Packers.
A lot of people love Trey Burton. Trey Burton.
I think for this week he'll be effectively like the wide receiver 1 there. I'm expecting a lot of yards, a lot of catches. Maybe not a touchdown, but he'll do it in yards. Maybe 8 catches, 80 yards. And that'll get it done for you there at tight end number 5 overall.
I like Trey Burton. I have him 8 on my rankings. So I mean, I like Trey Burton. Wide receiver 1, maybe to me, kind of a bold prediction in my opinion. I think Allen Robinson. They paid him that money. They signed him. I think they're going to try to throw him the ball.
He just hasn't been there in the preseason.
I can't see it on my phone. Let me see the starting lineup.
All right, I'll take it in a second.
Anyway, so as I said, I think Allen Robinson's going to be a factor in that thing. I mean, I think Trey Burton is going to get volume. I just don't think he's going to be wide receiver 1 volume. So, while Scott's looking at the...
Oh, man, I really hate this trade for you now, buddy. So his running backs are David Johnson and Jamal Williams is who he's playing. And then on his bench, he's got Duke Johnson and Devontae Booker. But he had Trey Burton already at tight end. So I thought he was fine. I think you were fine at tight end. Gronk wasn't necessary for you to acquire. And I really dislike that trade for you. I hate to tell you. But I would much rather, with that team you got there, I'd much rather put Joe Mixon and Adam Thielen in that lineup.
Yeah, I'm going to I go ahead and agree. If this is full PPR, I would not start Jamal Williams. I would start Duke Johnson because I just think Jamal Williams.
Duke Johnson finished last year as running back 13 overall.
Yeah, I think you bench Jamal Williams and you start Duke Johnson.
But you got the weather too.
But the weather is a factor. But if it's like a short pass and Duke Johnson can make someone slip on that wet terrain, I think you can get a touchdown. But I agree with Scott. I think you had Trey Burton, but I guess you have some tight end depth on the bright side. I mean. Is it a tight end premium? If it's a tight end premium, maybe. But I agree with Scott. I probably would have kept Joe Mixon, knowing that your team now. Kelvin Benjamin 2 from my bench. I want to see what Kelvin Benjamin does first in that offense. No, Nathan Peterman's going to be the starter. I call Nathan Peterman Nathan Pick City. Okay, I mean this guy throws picks, and I just want to see how he does. I do think the Bills are going to try to give McCoy as much chance as possible, even though McCoy is one of my sit players. That's a little bit of foreshadowing there. I do think I just want to see what Kelvin Benjamin does before I'm ready to start him. He has potential to post top wide receiver 15 numbers. I just want to see what he does first. But anyways. Yeah, I mean, as I said, Devin, you made a good point. If you're not high on a player, okay? If you're not high on a player, sell him. And especially a guy like Mixon who has the value there. Sell him. This is just what we think. A lot of people in the fantasy community, they love Mixon. They love the workhorse he has. In a fantasy running back, you want a running back that gets volume, and you want a running back that gets catches. And Mixon's going to get volume.
And just touching on something from him, he said he burnt me last year. I didn't like Mixon last year. This is a rookie. Marvin Lewis doesn't really play his rookies a whole lot. There's plenty of other running backs there in the backfield to play. So I wasn't really in on Mixon this year. But going into this season, Bill Lazor is the offensive coordinator. He's been the offensive coordinator all off season. He's going to implement more of that Chip Kelly type of offense there. And Mixon, he's in for a big workload.
Yeah, I mean,
Jeremy Hill's gone. His only competition now is Giovanni.
To me, you value a running back. In my ranks, I value the running back on the projected touches he's going to get that week. And I think Mixon's going to get 20-plus touches. And then you base on, okay, who he's playing against, he's going to do anything with it. Because I have McCoy getting 20-plus touches, but I don't think he's going to do as much with it because just what the defense is going to do against him. But Mixon, I think, is going to get a shoe-in and get a touchdown. I think he's going to have a good game. Yeah. But if you don't like him, as I said, if you don't like a player, sell high on them. I have done it. There's players that I like that Scott doesn't like. There's a player Scott likes that I don't like. It's just the base how you want to manage your team.
And part of it for me, too, is if you're trading Mixon for just Gronk, that's fair value. Mixon's typically going ahead of Gronk or in and around the area. But then throwing Thielen in, who's going just a round later than those two, is really just pushing it too much value.
Well, on the other side, Thielen is 28, 29 years old. It seemed Cook Cousins wasn't targeting Thielen as much as the preseason. I don't know if that's going to be the case. It seemed like he was more looking towards Diggs and Rudolph, so maybe...
I'm expecting a down season from Thielen as well, but the value currently
I agree.
Still pretty high.
But I agree. But I'm not against the trade. I think you had Trey Burton, which is good, but if you don't like Mixon, just sell him. Okay. Anyways, let's go on to my tight end number 3. Eric Ebron. I can't believe I'm actually saying this because I bashed him on the show before. Eric Ebron. Look, he had 5 catches, 54 yards, and 1 touchdown in the preseason week 3, which I know it's preseason, but the most important preseason game is the week 3 one. That's when they play most of the game. Jack Doyle didn't even have a single target. So I don't know what
preseason game.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's just because he was injured, he didn't want to play, or they're trying to nurse him. He's a starter, so he didn't want to play a starter as much. But I think Eric Ebron is going to be a thorn to Jack Doyle's side. I think he's going to be the true Dallas Goedert to Zach Ertz in Philadelphia. Like little analogy. You say Dallas Goedert is going to be a little bit thorn to Zach Ertz's side, which I disagree.
Both of them are going to be a thorn on each other's side. So I'm not. I actually have Eric Ebron as a sit.
Really? Oh well, we'll go to that later. Look, I think Luck's first game back. Okay, I don't think he threw that longest pass. I believe was like 18, 20 yards. I think he's going to be a little more dink and dunk type. I think it's going to be a security blanket. Eric Ebron is
part of why I have him as a sit. I really like Eric Ebron in the Colts offense, but part of it is I want to see this Jack Doyle Eric Ebron thing play out before I'm willing.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's fair to say. But I think David Fantasy, he's very cheap. I have him penciled in as 5 catches for 45 yards and 1 touchdown. I do think he gets in the injured this week. So,
all right. Well, my last start moving on is I'm going back to that Cincinnati Bengals well there. And Tyler Eifert. I'm putting him in my lineup. 15 touchdowns last year. He played the whole season healthy. I think he's going to get in the end zone this week as well. Big game for Tyler Eifert. You can play him. He's going to have a solid game here. Put Tyler Eifert in your lineup if you own him. Don't be afraid of the injury thing right now. He's healthy. It's the beginning of the season. That's still a couple weeks down the road before I think you'll start seeing any problems with him and his back. So.
I actually have Eifert as my 11th, actually behind Doyle and just in front of Eric Ebron. But
I have him at number 11 too.
Okay, so anyways, let's go with defense. So I'm only going to give you one defense. Ravens, Nathan Peterman. That is all. That's all I got to say. Nathan Peterman, a.k.a. Pick City. He's going to throw like 3 picks. I think they're going to load up the box. They're not going to give McCoy any chances. And that's it. That's all I got to say about that.
All right, my start, the Baltimore Ravens. Nathan Pick City. Absolutely. Get him in your lineup. They're playing at home. And 3 of 5 offensive linemen for the Bills are gone. They got to replace. So, Sack City here in Baltimore today.
I do another defense I just want to throw out there that I think is going to have a really good game, especially in daily fantasy, is the LA Chargers. Patrick Mahomes is going to be the starting quarterback. No, he's not a rookie, but he's his first game, real game. I think there's a real good chance that he's going to create some turnovers.
Yeah, there'll be some turnovers there.
And so, that's just the value of getting the turnovers is to me a start for the LA Chargers. But that was our start section. Let's go into our sit section. So, Scott, how about you open up with the sit section with our quarterbacks?
With the quarterbacks?
Yeah.
All right, so the first quarterback I'm sitting this week is Mr. Andrew Luck.
Ooh.
I love me some Andrew Luck. I really do.
Wow.
He was doing a little dink dunk. The velocity wasn't there in the preseason. He wasn't really stretching the ball down the field. I think there's a little bit of that proverbial rust that he has to knock off, and give him a couple weeks and come back. I do think they're going to score some points this week. I just don't feel solid or comfortable with Andrew Luck in my starting lineup for week 1, coming off the injury.
I do think this will be his first real game action, playing all 4 quarters. I do want to see, especially if he's down behind, he has to throw the ball down the field. I want to see how he handles it. So that's, don't disagree with that. My first sit, Jimmy G. Jimmy Garoppolo. Look, here's a fun fact, guys. In the last 13 games Minnesota played, there's only been 1 quarterback that threw 2 passing touchdowns or more. Okay, last 13 games, they've been holding quarterbacks to 1 passing touchdown. I do think they're going to be trying to get the ball, and I think they're going to give him his first loss of the season. I don't think he's going to have a good game. I think he's going to make some turnovers. So I have him at 245 yards, 1 touchdown with 2 interceptions. I don't think Jimmy G's going to have a good game this week. One more quick fun fact. The last 3 road games for Jimmy G, he averaged 15 points per fantasy game. Not very good. So
everybody was really high on Jimmy Garoppolo during the offseason.
Yeah.
But if you go look at his fantasy points, they're just kind of average.
Especially on the road. On the home, he's good. But on the road, last three games, only 15 points average points per game. That's very low for a quarterback, especially in a quarterback that in a lot of redraft leagues he's up there in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. So I think you sit him in daily fantasy, get a quarterback like Andy Dalton, Joe Flacco, who is much cheaper, and ride him that way.
Jimmy Garoppolo is also a sit for me this week.
Nice.
Tough defense against Minnesota on the road. What weapons does Jimmy Garoppolo have? Let's be honest, a 34-year-old Pierre Garçon and Marquise Goodwin, track star. So George Kittle.
But he has that shoulders issue.
Yeah,
so
I like George Kittle. He's down his starting running back there. Just tough matchup on the road. I don't like it for Jimmy G this week. I got him ranked in the quarterback 20. I'm looking elsewhere to play. Sit Jimmy Garoppolo week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings. Going into my last sit, I'll just knock it out since we were talking about Jimmy G, is your guy, Dak Prescott. We're sitting Dak Prescott this week. I think the Cowboys might struggle a little bit running the ball with the uncertainty of the offensive line. Travis Frederick's out. I think Carolina, they got a solid front 7. They're going to be able to hold their own against the run here. And I think Dak struggles a little bit getting the ball out where their Cowboys as a whole are a little bit, I'm not going to say they're struggling, but they're not going to be an elite rushing team this week.
Dak Prescott's actually my sit number 2.
Okay.
Offensive line.
I was hoping you had him as a sit there.
Offensive line is in question. I'd say Travis Etienne has Guillain-Barré syndrome, which attacks his cells in his nerves. But I do think they're going to give every opportunity to give the ball to Zeke. They didn't play Zeke at all in the preseason. I said before, he's my consensus number 1 running back in the redraft league. I think he's a shoo-in for 400-plus touches. I think he's going to lead the league in touches. Wide receivers are in question. Their presumed number one wide receiver is going to be Cole Beasley. Yes, the little slot guy is going to be Cole Beasley. Yes, Michael Gallup's there, but I'm not high on Dak Prescott. I have him going 235 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But he is prone to getting a rushing touchdown. So if he gets a rushing touchdown, that makes his fantasy day. So sitting Dak Prescott. My last quarterback I'm sitting is going to be Russell Wilson, guys. I know what you're saying, right? This is a consensus top 4 quarterback. A lot of people have drafted him pretty early in these drafts. Why am I sitting Russell Wilson? Let me tell you why. Russell Wilson has a history of always starting slow. All right, he always starts slow in September, and I think that week he's going to have some week 1 jitters. And number 2, Scott gave me this interesting stat, and I'm going to let Scott take over about the win-loss record of the first 2 weeks of the season for the Denver Broncos.
The Denver Broncos, 59 home games since the merger. That's after Super Bowl III. Since the merger, AFL and NFL became the same league. 59 home games, first 2 weeks of the season. You want to guess the Broncos' record in that time? 51-7. That's insane.
51-8.
Yeah, 51-8. I did the math wrong, guys. 51-8 during that time. My buddy Corey, he mentioned to me, and this is a great point. That's a high altitude. It's a hard place to play when you're not quite in game shape the first 2 weeks of the season. Makes complete sense to me. Russell Wilson's my 11th ranked quarterback. Really, he's a sit at that ranking.
Yeah. Usually
he's a top 5. I got him at 11. I'm with you. Sit Russell Wilson if you have a better option. Likely you probably don't because...
No, man, yeah, you draft him to start.
You drafted him early,
You're going, but in daily fantasy, stay away from him. I have him going at 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I do think he gets like 20, 25 rushing yards.
Yeah.
But definitely sit Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Doug Baldwin's, he has the bum knee. That defense in Denver, they're going to get after Russell Wilson. If Russell Wilson succeeds this week, it'll be rushing. It'll be
Yes.
The pass rush comes back, he steps up and breaks the pocket. That's how Russell. That's really the only way I can see Russell Wilson exceeding.
I agree. Sit Russell Wilson. So running backs. This pains me to say this so much. This guy right here. I've been talking to this guy. I think this guy, he's my guy. I'm going to have to ride with him. I still think he has a great season, unless he gets commissioner exempt list. But LaShawn McCoy is my week 1 sit for the running back, guys. Look, The volume's there to constitute you starting him. Like. You're going to have to start him in redraft because you most likely draft him in
round 5,
round 3rd, 4th, round 5 rounds, depending on the size of your league. Look, the volume's definitely there, so you have to start him. I agree, but look, Nathan Peterman's there, aka Nathan Pick City's going to be there. I think the Ravens are going to load up the box, not give him any run lanes. So my only question that's uncertain is there's been reports that they're going to try to throw in the ball more. So does he get more catches?
Yeah.
Therefore,
the receptions are there.
The receptions are there. Then it's a good start. But for right now, I want to see what he does. Obviously, I have to start him. I'm going to start him. But I have him getting 80 total yards with 3 catches. I'm very conservative on the catches. Because this guy got 56, 54 catches last year. So he gets catches. I just want to see, do they throw a lot more screens to him, whatever. But definitely sit LaShawn McCoy this week, guys.
No, completely agree. I knew you were going to pick LaShawn McCoy. I tried not making him one of my sits. I couldn't help it. Yeah. It's just it's so obvious.
It's one of the things. It's one of the things you just want to see how he does. You want to see how that offense looks in daily fantasy, absolutely. But as I said, you're going to have to start him. The volume's there for you to constitute starting him. He's going to get 20 touches. It's a certain to me. If I want to bet anything, he's going to get 20 touches.
Yeah. So moving on past LaShawn McCoy, my second sit this week is going to be Jamal Williams. Just with the Green Bay Packers, I think Ty Montgomery will get worked in enough at running back. He'll get enough looks to make Jamal Williams kind of meh. And then if you just look at the linebacking core in the front 7 of the Bears, especially adding Khalil Mack now, and Roquan Smith is the first-round pick, and Leonard Floyd is there. They got some big boys. They got some big boys.
Oh,
and Danny Trevathan. So plenty of guys there for the Bears to be able to stop the run. I think they're going to stuff Jamal Williams this week, and Ty Montgomery does the bulk of. Ty Montgomery outscores Jamal Williams this week. That's how far I'm willing.
I actually think Aaron Jones is going to be the better fantasy running back.
Well, we have to get past this.
Obviously, yeah, first 2 weeks, but I like that. So my next one's going to be Alfred Morris, guys. No, I'm very high on Alfred Morris. I do think Alfred Morris will have a great season. I think he gets over 1,000 yards. But for week 1 against Minnesota, Minnesota. I don't think he has one. Look, I think Matt Breida's a better play because he's a better pass catcher. I think that they're going to throw the ball a little bit more because they're going to be behind early. So I think Alfred Morris gets 14 touches for 40 yards.
I like that protection.
So I think that's pretty good. So going into my last one, Marshawn Lynch, guys. Marshawn Lynch. All right.
Also, my last sit, Marshawn Lynch.
So let me talk about it really quick. So look, Gruden, in his 11 years of coaching, only had 2 running backs over 1,000 yards. This guy likes to use his running backs, RBBC. I think Doug Martin, Marshawn Lynch is going to share its touches. It doesn't constitute you starting Marshawn Lynch. Plus, he's a little bit older. He's 32 years old. I don't like Marshawn Lynch against the probably the better defenses in Los Angeles Rams. I think he's going to get 14 catches for about 45, 43 yards.
Nope, I completely agree. The Los Angeles Rams' entire defense, not just the front 7, the back end, everywhere.
Dude, on paper, their defense looks insane.
If you go to Madden, they'd be like rated 88 and higher at every position on the defense.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So I agree. I think they're going to be behind. Marshawn Lynch is not much of a pass catcher. Maybe Jalen Richard actually gets the catches, or DeAndre Washington gets the catches there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not expecting 10 points. Less than 10 points from Marshawn Lynch this week in total.
Yep. Stay away from Marshawn Lynch. Especially it's a Monday night game too. Don't do it. Anyways, going to wide receivers, okay? You want to open it up? You want me to open it up?
Yep. My biggest sit this week is Demaryius Thomas. I'm sitting Demaryius Thomas.
You've been saying this all the way.
I will find somebody else. I like Demaryius Thomas. I do think maybe towards the middle or end of the season he can get a little bit of a rapport with Case Keenum this year. But week 1 right now, I don't think that they've had the rep. They've had the time to build the rapport. I think Emmanuel Sanders is in for a big week, and Demaryius Thomas relegates to wide receiver 2, which in that offense, I'm not sure it's going to be much of anything for fantasy relevancy. I got him as my wide receiver 26, and that's mostly because of name recognition, really. And sit Demaryius Thomas this week. Find yourself a better option.
How do you feel about Carlos Hyde? With the weather currently in Cleveland, I'm kind of more confident in Carlos Hyde because that kind of suits his running style. Right. It's going to be really rainy. It's going to be really windy. I think they're going to try to run the ball. And when you play on wet conditions, a defender can easily slip and then for making a wide open run. So I think Carlos Hyde is in for a pretty decent game just because of the weather. I think they're going to try to give him the ball a little bit more. And
then if you go back to the preseason, the Cleveland Browns, they had their most success running the ball with Carlos Hyde. Nick Chubb got stuffed quite a bit. Duke Johnson, he more of a satellite back, plays on the outside. Carlos Hyde, he's going to get work. He's going to be successful this week, especially running the ball. So I'm expecting maybe 80 to 100 total yards with a touchdown.
I do think he gets in the end zone. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. I don't think Steelers are going to blow this out.
And even in the past, when the Browns were the Browns, they wouldn't blow out the Browns.
Yeah.
Especially in Cleveland. It would just be a tough game. They're division rivals.
The Cleveland Browns are the Tennessee Titans to what the Steelers would be for the Jaguars. They always play tough. Carlos Hyde, I do like Carlos Hyde this week. I think if you need to start him, I think you should start him.
Yep, completely agree.
Wide receiver 1 with this man right here. The jersey he's wearing is my first sit for wide receiver. Okay, Mike Evans. Let me tell you why, guys. In 2 games last season, okay, he had a combined stat line of 6 catches for 68 yards against the Saints. It seems like the Saints cornerbacks have Mike Evans' numbers. It's a really, 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 really hard matchup. I do think they're going to run the ball a little bit more with Peyton Barber. I think Peyton Barber gets a lot more catches. I'm not entirely confident in starting Mike Evans, but I understand why you will have to start him. I mean, I'm starting in one of my leagues. I have to, just because he's Mike Evans. But right now,
I'm not Mike Evans. You're starting.
I'm not confident in Mike Evans. I think he gets 4 catches of 47 yards, but he could go on the opposite end of the spectrum and get 6 catches for 100 yards. Because it seems like Ryan Fitzpatrick does like to throw to Mike Evans. So,
and really, Mike Evans.
My opinion.
It's just a matter of does he get the big jump ball down the field play? I mean, he usually typically makes them.
Yeah.
Where he's got two defenders, he goes
jump
up
ball,
and
and
he's tall.
If we all know Ryan Fitzpatrick likes to gunsling it, so he will probably give him some chances.
Right.
But for right now, it just seems like the cornerbacks of the Saints have his number, and that defense for the Saints it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
to me, really, if this is a close game, I'm not expecting a whole lot from Mike Evans this week. But if the Saints were to pull away and they got a 20-point lead to nurse, then I expect Mike Evans to do a little bit more if that play script happens, or game script. My second sit this week, it's going to be Doug Baldwin.
Ooh.
I do like Doug Baldwin a lot for this year. I actually just traded in the league James Conner for Doug Baldwin, which I feel is a sturdier asset to own Doug Baldwin. If Le'Veon Bell comes back, and what's James Conner's worth? Not a whole lot. But anyways, Doug Baldwin, I'm sitting him this week. Denver's a really good defense. He's got that sore knee.
I'm not worried about the knee entirely as much as Scott is.
Well, even if you go back to look at the Thursday night game, Keanu O'Neal, he hurt his knee, left the game, came back in the game. Well, I think the structure of his knee, I'm just projecting, I don't know nothing. I think the structure of his knee was hindered a little bit. So he completely tore his ACL a few plays later when he got back into the game trying to make a cut because his knee wasn't strong enough to...
I agree.
So there is potential for Doug Baldwin to tear his ACL in this game. I do think it's there. If his knee is unsturdy and it's not holding up well, I think this could actually happen. Plus, the defense is good. I mean, Chris Harris is on him. Chris Harris is one of the best slot corners where Doug Baldwin likes to play in the slot. And I think that he'll be held, I'm thinking 4 catches for 60 yards.
I disagree. I'm actually really high. He's a sit for me because of the volume alone. They got to throw it to someone. But anyways, big on Doug Baldwin. There's been plenty of receivers that don't play in preseason because of injury. Larry Fitzgerald, Antonio Brown. I'm not worried about it. If Doug Baldwin says he's good to go, his knee says he's going to be like 85-90%, I'll take an 85-90% Doug Baldwin knee any day of the week. I still have him pretty high in my rankings. I just think the volume alone is going to be there.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson likes him.
Where do you have him in your rankings?
I
got him 16th.
My rankings, I have him at 12.
12. Okay, so I'm a little bit lower on him.
Okay, but my set number 2 is another receiver that I was really high on. It just pains me to say this. I waited 2.5 years to find the guy and finally get active, and I'm going to sit him. It's so insane. Josh Gordon, guys. I got to sit Josh Gordon. Okay, weather worries me, but the snap count worries me more. Hugh Jackson says he's going to put on a pitch count, snap count, and he still has high upside. In this type of weather games, Josh Gordon can easily take a quick slant, like a 5-yard slant. A defender slips down, misses, and Josh Gordon takes it to the house. Right. That's very possible. But I'm not willing to take that big of a risk right now with him, especially if I have other players. The weather's a concern for me. I do think Josh Gordon breaks out. I do think he gets over 1,200 yards. I think he gets in the top 10 wide receiver rankings. But for right now, he's going to go a slow start. And I'm going to sit Josh Gordon this week.
Okay. Fair. I mean, it's a fair assessment. I would agree with you. I don't think... I got Josh Gordon pretty low in my rankings. I'm trying to find him here. Mm-hmm. I know I ranked him. Oh, I got him 30th. So I agree. I kind of let's see it before it happens, especially given the weather, the matchup, the coming back and hasn't been.
Now he does say his hamstring's 100% good to go, so the injuries, he's off the injury list actually. But as I said, he's actually right now not even in my top 30 just because the weather and the snap count. I just want to see what he does first. Right. Next week that's going to change. If the weather's better, he's going to be up there in my rankings. But
and if he gets usage in this week too, the snap count, he doesn't start the game, but he's actually a starter for the rest of the game after the first play. Yeah, so. That's kind of what we're looking for here.
Yes.
My last wide receiver sit, Odell Beckham. He's got to go against Jalen Ramsey this week. I mean, obviously, if you have him on your team, you're not sitting him, but for daily and things of that nature, I'm sitting Odell Beckham this week. I'm not going to roll him out. Jalen Ramsey, he's not going to shut him down. Let's be clear here. Jalen Ramsey, they're both going to win matchups. They're both going to win battles. But just because Jalen Ramsey and even A.J. Boye, who's a solid corner in his own right, will hold Odell Beckham to under 100 yards this week.
I think Odell gets a touchdown, though, easily. We've seen how Jalen done against our receivers. Look, DeAndre Hopkins, he beat him a couple of times. He got touchdowns in the time he played him. So, obviously, Odell, for namesake, you have to start him. So
yeah,
but,
in redraft and any type of season-long format you do in daily,
I agree. Yeah.
I'd
Jalen's a beast. Jalen's a beast. So, anyways, Amari Cooper is my third one. I know what you're saying. Amari Cooper's back on my set. This is just because pure matchup. I have every intention of John Gruden seeing him feeding him the ball. I just think with his cornerbacks, Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters out there, I don't think there's going to be many opportunities for him to really produce. I do have a pretty decent stat line for him: 6 catches, 62 yards. But for right now, just on matchup alone, I'm sitting him down, getting a better alternative for daily, especially. But sitting Amari Cooper. Heading into our tight ends, guys. I'll lead off in the tight ends. My first tight end to sit is going to be David Njoku.
Oh, dang. It's also my first tight end to sit.
All right, sweet. We're doing really good. Hey, guys, we did not.
No, we didn't discuss this.
We did not discuss this at all.
He did mention to me LaShawn McCoy was a sit of his. I tried to avoid that. I couldn't. It's just such a bad matchup.
It is a bad matchup, but anyways, let me listen, guys. Weather, and as I said, weather's a consistent theme, especially with all Cleveland Browns right now. Look, Pitt only gave up 2 touchdowns to opposing tight ends all of last season, the fewest in the league. All right? And to me, David Njoku is a touchdown or bust type of player right now. He's a limited role with the Mounts to feed. You got Gordon Landry, Antonio Callaway, Duke Johnson. They're all going to be thorns in his Nick Chubb. So right now, I have him as, no, I'm probably pretty lenient. I probably overvalued him, but I have 4 catches for 32 yards. I think it's going to be actually a little bit lower.
I was thinking 3 for 30, so about the same.
But anything you want to add into David Njoku, or you want to go to your next step?
I love David Njoku as a talent. 2018, I don't think he's going to get a whole lot of volume. So especially week 1, with the weather and everything factored in, I'm sitting David Njoku this week. I'll move into my number 2 sit this week, and actually, my 2 and 3 are kind of tied together. Jack Doyle, Eric Ebron. Sitting them both. Okay. I want to see the situation play out. I know the tight end position, one of them, both of them. There's going to be some value there to be had in Indianapolis, the tight end position. Andrew Luck, throughout his whole career and even into college, always targeted the tight end to some extent. So there is going to be some value there. I don't know where. I think it's probably Jack Doyle, but they did give Eric Ebron quite a bit of money to come in, and they used him, like you said, in week 3 of the preseason, but weeks 1 and 2, they used Doyle exclusively. So it's a muddy situation. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm sitting both Jack Doyle, Eric Ebron, week 1.
Well, I'm actually sitting Jack Doyle this week, guys. Okay, I'm sitting Jack Doyle because I think Eric Ebron's going to be a problem. I explained this earlier. I want to see what he can do before I want to start him. I have him going 4 catches, 41 yards. My tight end 3 that I'm sitting, who's actually my bust of the week, is going to be Evan Ingram. I think there's a lot of mouths to feed in New York Giants. You got Saquon Barkley, he's going to get touches. Look at he's sitting too. Good for him. Odell's going to be there. He's going to get his targets. And a lot of people overlook Sterling Shepard, but I think Sterling Shepard's going to have a great season. He's going to get overlooked too. So I just don't think there's enough work there for him to constitute a start. I do think Jags defense, the linebackers are really good. They're really quick. They can keep up with him.
And they should have Gronk down the AFC Championship.
With a legal hit too. But besides the point, 4 catches for 37 yards. I still think that's like too much. I want to be side guys lower, but quickly with my Bears defense. Bears defense is my sit. Aaron Rodgers. That's all I'm going to say. It's Aaron freaking Rodgers. You try to avoid Aaron Rodgers as much as possible. I think Khalil Mack's going to have a little bit adjustment period into the learning a new system.
Right. They'll probably just put him in the pass rush. I don't think they'll have him do too much outside of that.
And then my kicker is going to be Brett Maher, Cowboys kicker. We're still battling today.
You're sitting him? Starting him?
I'm sitting him.
Okay. Who are you starting a kicker? I don't think we did that.
Yes, I did. I thought I did.
I didn't give mine.
Oh. Justin Tucker, whatever. Okay. I don't know.
All right, so my defense, I'm sitting Houston, Tom Brady.
That is all.
No more analysis.
That is all.
Kicker, I'm starting Ryan Suckup. A lot of it has to do with the offensive coordinator there in Tennessee. Can't remember the guy's name. It eludes me. But he was the quarterback's coach with the LA Rams, and prior to that, he was the quarterback coach with Kyle Shanahan in Atlanta. So if you look at both situations, plenty of points, plenty of kicks. Matt LaFleur? I think that's his name. But anyways, he's the offensive coordinator now there in Tennessee. I think they're going to be able to move the ball. I think initially, early in the season, they're going to struggle to put it in the end zone, particularly passing. Maybe Derrick Henry runs and is able to get them in. But I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities, especially this week in Miami, for Ryan Suckup. He's my kicker start of the week. And then my sit, I'm sitting Harrison Butker. A lot of that has to do with typically in divisional matchups, the points are suppressed. Like everybody thinks, oh, Kansas City great offense, LA Chargers great offense. They're going to score a lot of points, but you know what? We end up with a 20-14 game. So,
but I also think Harris Buckner easily can get a 50-yarder, which can make your day. So
right. So, anyways, I'm sitting Butker, just because it's a divisional game, and I don't think a lot of points are going to be there for him.
Sweet. All right. That was our start sit, guys. As I said before, if you guys want a more in-depth explanation of my start sits, you can find them at Big Cat Country. Look for Brian Fulford. I'm working with him all throughout the season. Each player has about a 1 to 2 paragraph reason for me starting or sitting them. Check that out. Let's go into our rankings, okay? So these are our rankings for week 1 in all leagues, all formats, except for daily. As I said, no, daily's a little bit different, but I think we can do 5 at a time. You want to do 5 at a time?
Yeah, but I think why would these rankings change for daily?
I just think daily because you get better values by starting
the number values.
Yeah, the salary cap values. Okay,
completely agree.
So obviously my top 5 is going to be going to start with Aaron Rodgers as number 1, Tom Brady be number 2. I have Cam Newton 3, Drew Brees 4, and I do have Deshaun Watson as my rounding out my top 5.
Okay, so 4 of them we have the same. I have Aaron Rodgers number 1, Drew Brees number 2, Matthew Stafford number 3. I think he's in for a huge week this week. Tom Brady 4, and Deshaun Watson also 5.
Okay, I mean I got no quarrels about it. Obviously the quarterback position's like really the difference between the number 1 ranked quarterback and like the number 12 ranked quarterback was like 30, 40 points. It's really not. I mean,
throughout the duration of the season, 2 points a week.
It's really not that big of a deal. But going into my rounding out my top 10. So I got Matthew Stafford in my 6. I got Kirk Cousins at 7. Philip Rivers, Russell Wilson breaks into the top 10. And I do have Andrew Luck on the top 10, mainly for namesake. But I do think Andrew Luck does. I think he's coming back. He wants to throw touchdowns. He wants to get back in the groove and get back into the winning formation. So I do have Andrew Luck in there. So
okay, so I got Cam Newton 6, Philip Rivers 7, Jared Goff 8, who was a start for me this week, Kirk Cousins at 9, and Big Ben Roethlisberger at 10. He only needs to hit one of them big plays of Antonio Brown, and that'll make his day. So, and given the other matchups, the only person I'd even consider putting at 10 instead of Big Ben is Andy Dalton, but Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I know, right? So I do have Ben Roethlisberger at 11, Jared Goff at 12. Andy Dalton's my 13. I did circle him because I do love him a lot this week. In my article at Big Cat Country, I mentioned Andy Dalton like 4 or 5 times. I think Andy Dalton's going to have a great game against Indianapolis Colts. I love the matchup. I have Alex Smith at 14. I have Marcus Mariota running up my top 15.
All right, and at 11, I have Russell Wilson. I'm down on him quite a bit this week. Andy Dalton at 12. I love the matchup. Literally every sentiment you said about Andy Dalton, I completely agree with. Andrew Luck at 13. More or less, I want to see it. Pat Mahomes at 14 because I do recognize there's a lot of upside. He's got Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill. I mean, he can hit 1 or 2 just bombs to either one of them, and that'll make his week. And then Marcus Mariota at 15 against Miami.
Rounding up my top 20. We're only doing the 20 for the quarterbacks. The positional players, positions, wide receiver, running back, do top 30. Tight end, defense, top 20, etc. I got Dak Prescott at 16 just because I feel like he has a really good shot at getting a rushing touchdown. Getting a rushing touchdown, that will make his fantasy day. I still sitting him, but I think he has a really good chance. That's why he's up there a little bit in the rankings. I got Tyrod Taylor. I did these rankings before the weather really broke out, so I probably would drop him a little bit, probably a little bit lower to maybe 19. So for the sake of it, I have Patrick Mahomes at my 17th rank. Tyrod would be my 19th rank. Blake Bortles would be my 18th ranked quarterback. And rounding out the top 20 would be Sam Darnold because I think they're going to be down a lot in that game. I think he's going to have to throw the ball.
Wow, you don't got Jimmy G in your top 20.
I don't got Jimmy G this week, man. I don't.
All right, so 16, I also have Dak Prescott. 17, I also have Tyrod Taylor. And then at 18, Blake Bortles. 19, Alex Smith. And 20, Jimmy Garoppolo, just because Jimmy GQ. That's all. He's got the name.
Right, going to our receiver rankings. I'm not receiver, running back rankings. I'm sorry, running back rankings. As I said before, he's my consensus He's my consensus number 1 running back in all redraft leagues. It's going to be Zeke Elliott. I think he's going to get a lot of work a day. I won't be surprised if he touches the ball 25 times. It goes Zeke, Todd Gurley, David Johnson, Melvin Gordon, Alvin Kamara as my top 5.
And I got Todd Gurley, Alvin Kamara, David Johnson, Zeke Elliott, Melvin Gordon. And Ezekiel Elliott, I feel like I'm a little bit low on him here at 4, and that's
because of the matchup.
Because the offensive line uncertainty there. Carolina has a really good front 7. Ezekiel Elliott's he's going to score points. I just think it's not going to be an elite week for him.
I do think he's going to get a lot more catches this week, guys. I do think they need to throw to someone. Yep. The receiver crew isn't proven right there. They're going to throw to someone.
That's the one thing I really want to see with Ezekiel Elliott is I want targets. If you don't catch him, whatever, I want 7 targets for Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, just get targets, right? This is something that tells us that they're going to try to get him the ball.
Right.
Rounding up my top 10, so if you would have told me before the season, show me this ranking, I'll be like, no way. But number 6 is Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, I know.
Christian McCaffrey, guys. I mean, I'm sorry, as I said before, Mr. McCaffrey. I think you're going to have a great season. What 18 touches in the preseason, week 3 in the first half? That's insane. They're going to use him to the ground. Cowboys defense, secondary is not as good. The front 7's pretty decent, but I think he's going to get a lot of catches. So I got McCaffrey, Fournette, Hunt. I got Dalvin Cook. I did a little side note with Dalvin Cook. I want to see what the Latavius Murray situation is going to be. Is it going to be RBBC?
Right.
They said Dalvin. There was
he might be on a pitch count.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook said that they're going to get a heavy workload, but what's the heavy workload going to be for him? Then number 10, as I said before, love him in daily, love him in general. Joe Mixon, guys. Joe Mixon. The matchups are going to be good. I think he's a shoo-in and get a touchdown. Shoo-in.
Saquon Barkley outside your top 10.
He's 11-11.
Yeah.
He's a rookie, and he got against the Jags, guys.
I'm with you. I got him 10. And the difference is Dalvin Cook, Barkley. That's it. But anyways, my number 6, Joe Mixon. I love him this week. Double highlight, get him in your lineup. Number 7, I got Leonard Fournette. Number 8, I got Christian McCaffrey, just barely ahead of Kareem Hunt at 9, mostly because I expect more catches out of McCaffrey. But I do think the Dallas defense is a little bit better, sneaky good.
The front 7's good. The
good.
secondary, the cornerbacks, safeties in general, is not as good.
And then number 10, Saquon Barkley, and I think that's the only reason I got him ahead of Dalvin Cook is because I don't have to deal with a knee issue, and I don't think there's a number 2 back in New York that you have to deal with Latavius Murray.
Good point.
So factor those 2 in, and Barkley, they're going to target Barkley. I'm expecting 8 to 10 targets here.
Really? Okay. Well, I do want to see.
How else are they going to move the ball?
I mean, Jaguars. The only nick against the Jaguars is they always have a trouble with the pass catching back. Saw that in the Saints game a little bit preseason, so that doesn't surprise me. They try to give him the ball. Plus, 2nd overall pick.
Well, yeah, Miles Jack. Yeah. Miles Jack is moving to middle linebacker instead of outside linebacker.
Yeah, so that's a good point.
Another outside linebacker that's going to have to cover running backs coming out.
Mm-hmm. So, that's a good point.
I think you're going to struggle.
Rounding up my top 15, so I got Saquon. Just outside my top 10, guys.
Yep.
I got James Conner. I think the boost is going to be there. Obviously, I did this before the weather situation. I could easily move him, maybe swap Barkley and Conner out. I think he can easily get a lot of work. Anyways, so I go round up to Jordan Howard. As I said, I love him. Peyton Barber, I love him. And Lamar Miller is my 15th. As my 15th running back. Anyways, Cousins. Josh, I got one of our viewers said, is Cousins ranked ESPN 7th? No, I think that's probably where you're going to find him in a lot of the rankings.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I got him 9th, so we're fighting over nothing. But I think it's a little bit higher than I would go.
No, he's actually.
I have no problems with him.
He's actually 7 in my rankings.
Yeah.
Look, the matchup's good. The matchup's decent. As I said, I think he gets 3 touchdowns this week. I don't know how many yardage. I think he gets 3 touchdowns. And another fun fact to Kirk Cousins. After Cam Newton and after Russell Wilson, do you want to know who the 3rd ranked quarterback is in terms of rushing touchdowns?
Well, I'm assuming, since you're saying this, it's Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, guys. Fun fact, that's a little bar bet you can do. Cousins is 3rd in rushing touchdowns amongst quarterbacks.
Over, like 3 seasons or something?
Something like that, but it's pretty little fun little fact right there. Round your top 15 up.
I got number 11, Dalvin Cook. Number 12, Lamar Miller. I love him this week. Get him in your lineups. 13, Jordan Howard. 14, James Conner, and 15, Alex Collins. I'm not a big Alex Collins fan, but just looking at the matchup, I think this is a nice matchup for him. The Ravens are going to be able to score some points in this game. I think Alex Collins is a bet to get a touchdown.
I don't like Alan Collins this week. I don't like him at all. He's not even in my. I just don't like that running back.
You don't have him top 30 or what?
No, I don't have him in my top 30. I want to see how the running back situation does. It's like Alex Collins has burned me before. Okay.
Well, I mean, the only Buck Allen will take some catches, and then Kenneth Dixon, he just wasn't getting the carries that Alex Collins was. Mm-hmm. I think it's there for Alex Collins, and I hate Alex Collins. I really do. If I'm in Dynasty, I'm moving him. I'm getting away from him.
Anyways, Running out
top 20. I got 16. I'll just go ahead. I got 16, Kenyon Drake. I actually really like him this week. I mean, my ranking might be a little low on him, but I do like him this week. 17, LaShawn McCoy. We're sitting him this week against Baltimore. 18, Derrick Henry. And the only reason he's not ahead of LaShawn McCoy is that Deion Lewis is there, and I don't know what the upside with pass catching is there with Derrick Henry. 19, Carlos Hyde. And then 20, Royce Freeman. Freeman, I expect to get the bulk of the carries. I love him as a talent coming out, and I think he's going to get several catches here. It's just a matter of, does he get in touchdowns? That'll make your fantasy week. If he doesn't, expect like 70 to 80 yards, maybe 2 catches.
Okay. What was that? That was our top 15?
Yep, go through your 16 through 20.
All right, so 16 through 20. So Sean McCoy, the volume's going to be there. Does he do anything? As I said, I want to see targets at least. I just want to see what he does. But right now he's low. Derrick Henry's my number 17th. I think he's probably a little bit lower than a lot of people have him. I just want to see how they use him. I do think he gets in the end zone this week. I think the Dolphins are susceptible to the power back that is Derrick Henry. Kenyon Drake, 18. Jamal Williams is 19. As I said before, I don't like Jamal Williams. Scott is one of his sit running backs too. And 20, sneaky start you can do. Royce Freeman. It's going to be the starting running back. Seattle defense isn't Seattle defense anymore. Catches the ball a lot. I want to try to get in the touchdown. Daily guys, he's very cheap. It's Royce Freeman.
Yep. 21 through 25, which I don't have 25 on here. That's interesting. 21 through 25, I got Rex Burkhead.
Me too.
Peyton Barber, who I really like this week. I know 22 is a little bit lower of a ranking, but I like Peyton Barber a lot, even for this year. 22, Jamal Williams. He's a sit. 23, Marshawn Lynch. Also, we're sitting Marshawn Lynch this week. 24, Chris Thompson. I think he is the back to own. It's just a matter of the health there.
Apparently,
a lot of the news lately
he's playing.
That he's in.
Which has surprised me because I thought he wasn't going to play it in November.
Right. And then 25, I got Deion Lewis. I just think that he's healthy now. So if we're going to play him at all this season, it's now. And Deion Lewis will get enough catches to be relevant.
And Scott mentioned this last week. He drafted Derrick Henry in his redraft league with our FOTP collab. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube, please. It was a pretty fun show. He's banking on Deion Lewis to get injured.
Yeah, he's been injured his whole career. I think he spent 1 year with the New England Patriots healthy, and then other than that, he's been injured his entire career. Before he was with the Patriots, do you guys even remember who he played with?
Seattle.
Nope.
Nope.
Philadelphia, and then Cleveland.
Really?
Yes.
He played for Seattle.
He was with both of them. What college did he go to?
Clemson? Oh.
Pitt.
Oh.
So he's just perpetually injured throughout his whole career. He never could get on the field in Philadelphia. He could never get on the field in Cleveland. He goes to New England. He has that first year where he's healthy, and then he's banged up almost for the rest of his duration of being there.
All right, well, running up my 21 to 25. So I do got Rex Burkhead. I agree with you. Chris Carson, just because the volume is going to probably be there. I think he gets some catches. It's another sneaky start is Adrian Peterson. I'm starting in my daily. I'm starting Adrian Peterson. He's a flex spot. He's very cheap, like $5,000 something around that area. I do think he gets. He looked good in the preseason. I think he gets a touchdown. Marshawn Lynch, even though I'm sitting him just for namesake and the volume, he's probably going to somewhat be up there. Duke Johnson, probably dropping a little bit lower because of the weather. He's more of a pass catching back. He's not going to be the runner type thing. He will get carries. I just don't think he'll get as many carries. That's what I like to say, a Carlos Hyde, maybe Nick Chubb. Chris Thompson, as I said before, is my 27. With in front of him, Deion Lewis. Wait, I just skipped everyone. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just finish out your top.
I'm going to finish out my top 25. So Deion Lewis, Chris Thompson, Carlos Hyde. I got Jordan Wilkins in those guys. I said he's going to be the week 1 starter. Did I say he's going to be a week 1 starter? Did I say I was going to be a week 1 starter?
You said it, but it's by default.
No, hey. He's gonna keep the job now. Marlon Mack's probably gonna lose it. I do think he gets in the end zone this week, guys. He does like to catch the ball. They're gonna probably use him as a workhorse. Sneaky start, and Alfred Morris rounds up my top 30.
All right, so 26 or 30, I got Duke Johnson. There'll be enough catches there. Rough weather game, so throwing the ball downfield hurts, but throwing it short, you still be able to do that. And then 28 or 27, 28, I did Bilal Powell and Isaiah Crowell just because
kind of mixed a little.
I don't know which one.
Yeah.
I mean, Bilal Powell's getting the starts in the preseason ahead of Isaiah Crowell, but Crowell looks better, and I think he's a better player. So I just did them back to back, and then I did James White at 29. He's in for a ton of receptions this week, especially Edelman being out. Mm-hmm. And then at 30, we'll go with Chris Carson. Just mostly because of workload. We'll see how it plays out. Maybe actually Rashad Penny is the starter. We don't know. They're saying Chris Carson, so I'm just.
I think Chris Carson. He's definitely looked the better back.
Right.
But all right, that's round out. Let's go quickly. Just do our not quickly, but we have plenty of time. Let's roughly quickly do it.
Wide receivers.
So actually, my number one's probably not going to be his number one.
I bet you we have the same one.
DeAndre Hopkins?
DeAndre Hopkins.
Ah, yeah!
I knew. When I wrote that down, I'm completely on board with DeAndre Hopkins number one, and I thought, you know what? This is a little bit contrarian, but I bet you Matt has DeAndre Hopkins 1, 2.
I do have on my team, but I think the weather plays a factor with Antonio Brown. He did drop me. He's actually my number 2, Antonio Brown.
He's my number 3.
Okay, well, I'm going to quickly do my, I'm just going to do my top 10. DeAndre Hopkins, Antonio Brown, AJ Green. I do got Keenan Allen up there.
AJ Green is my 2.
All right, cool. I love AJ Green this week. I'm starting in one of my leagues.
All your Bengals, get him.
Yep. Michael Thomas, he's going to get a lot of targets there. Odell, just because of the matchup. Odell would typically be probably in the top 5, but just because of the matchup sake. He's number 6. Got Devontae Adams, also Devontae Touchdown Adams, however you want to say it. Larry Fitzgerald, Stephon Diggs, and then I got Chris Hogan rounding out my top 10.
All right, so I got DeAndre Hopkins at 1, AJ Green 2. I love AJ Green, and honestly, there's consideration for him being number 1 overall wide receiver this week for me as well. Antonio Brown 3, Michael Thomas 4, Devontae Adams 5. He's in for a touchdown this week. Keenan Allen 6, Mike Evans 7, and that's mostly because I'm projecting game script. They'll be trailing. He'll get a lot of points the second half of the game. T.Y. Hilton at 8, start for me. Love him this week. Stephon Diggs at 9, and then Odell Beckham at 10. Way low, but that's just the
one thing that I want people. I do. The reason why I rate Keenan Allen a little bit higher than Scott is Eric Berry's not going to play.
Right, and that was consideration for me too. But Devontae Adams getting a touchdown. I just know that's
the one knack with Keenan Allen was he never got a lot of touchdowns. Last year he got like 7, 8, which was a lot more than he ever did. Now does he keep that same number? Devontae Adams is going to probably get.
Where did you have Keenan Allen? 4?
4.
4 to 6. I mean, there's only 2-player difference. So
but
we're roughly there.
Devontae Adams he's a shoo-in to probably get 10 touchdowns. He got 10 touchdowns the last 2 years, so 10 plus. So it's definitely a. Cowboys' Randy Gregory just suffered a relapse in August. He's faced discipline from the NFL. He's in phase 3 of testing, just like Josh Gordon is. He's most likely.
That just ended his career.
That ended his
career.
Had to have been his career. That's on a bummer. He looked really good in preseason.
Yeah, and they took a chance on him coming out of the draft. Yeah. Didn't you guys get him in the second round?
Yeah, I think we overvalued him.
There's tons of question marks on him. He should have been a top 50.
That's a bummer. I hope you get better, Randy Gregory. But I'm sorry, man. Do my top 20. So I got T.Y. Hilton 11. I think he's going to get a yardage. We all know what he does with T.Y. Hilton. With Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton always do good things together. So, Doug Baldwin's my top 12 because of volume thing. I think he's a shoot. If he's healthy, he's going to get 100 catches this year. I think that's a given. There's no one around there. I got Mike Evans at 13, Tyreek Hill at 14, Juju Smith-Schuster at 15, Adam Thielen at 16. I'm a little bit low on Brandon Cooks and Scott Edge just because I want to see what he does because I've had Brandon Cooks. I've been a Brandon Cooks owner. He has burned me before, but he's also helped me win leagues. So it just depends. Is it more consistent? Golden Tate, as I said, he's one of my players I love because of volume. I think he's a PPR specialist, PPR stud. Definitely start him. Marvin Jones, I think Kenny Galladay is going to be a thorn in Marvin Jones' side. I think Kenny Galladay is going to take a lot of targets away from him to justify not wanting to start Marvin Jones. And then rounding off the top 20 is Demaryius Thomas. For all the reasons Scott said before, namesake, I do think he has a good chance to get a touchdown because he's a big body. Case Keenum will probably throw it up there, try to give him a chance.
Right. I got Tyreek Hill 11. I'm expecting them to hit at least one big play. And if you watch the preseason, all the targets were going to Tyreek Hill. He was just getting fed. So Tyreek Hill I'm really high on for this season. Number 12, Larry Fitzgerald. He's Larry Fitzgerald. Not much more needs to be said. Number 13, Marvin Jones. I think he's the wide receiver 1 now in Detroit. I think Golden Tate's going to step back a little bit. He's getting older. He's in the contract year. The Lions don't seem that they want to be getting him a new contract. So I do think they want to start working Marvin Jones and Kenny Galladay in. And apparently they're going to be the outside receivers, and Golden Tate's going to kick to the slot as well. That's the news coming out of Detroit. 14, Brandon Cooks. I absolutely love him this week against Oakland. I think he's in for a huge week. I agree with Matt. He is a little bit of an up and down player, but when he's up, he can win you weeks. 15, Adam Thielen. I'm not a big fan of Adam Thielen, but at the same time, we got to see how this plays out. Maybe Adam Thielen gets used by Kirk Cousins the same way but I do think Adam Thielen's in for a little bit of regression for the 2018 season. 16, Doug Baldwin. He's a sit for me this week. He's still going to get your points, still going to be fine. He's just not going to have a big week this week. And I think he really is a top 10 receiver in the league in fantasy, just not week 1. 17, I have Emmanuel Sanders. Love him this week. I think he's wide receiver 1 in Denver. 18, Chris Hogan. It's probably a little low on him, but he's white. 19, 19, I'm going with Golden Tate. Tons of points we scored for the Lions. Golden Tate, he'll get his catches and yards there. And then 20, I also, looking back on this, I feel like I'm pretty low, and I know you didn't. I don't think you had him in your top 20. I got Jarvis Landry here, and I think going into this week, I know we're expecting bad weather and everything, but I think he in Miami, he had a lot of success running short area routes.
That's true. And as I said before, quick slant route, muddy conditions, someone slips, breakaway, and that's something like Jarvis Landry likes to do.
Yeah, so Jarvis Landry at 20. I'm going to keep him there, but I do feel like it's a little bit low. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, do your 21 through 30.
All right, so I got Allen Robinson just because I just want to see how they use him. I know they signed him to a contract. He's supposed to be the wide receiver 1. Trey Burton's there. You got Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen. So I just want to see how they use him. He can very well be top 15 if everything goes as planned in terms of using him. Amari Cooper, just based on matchup, 22. Jarvis Landry 23. Emmanuel Sanders 24. I do rank Demaryius Thomas a little bit higher, even though I think just because I think Demaryius Thomas gets touchdowns. I think he's get touchdowns. I do think Emmanuel Sanders will get more yardage, more catches. But if you're in a standard scoring system, I know obviously I'm probably favored Demaryius Thomas a little bit more, but in PPR, absolutely Emmanuel Sanders. This was before the news broke out. Will Fuller is my 25th, but he's actually not going to play, so adjust your rankings accordingly. I'll probably throw in.
Did that come out official, or is it unlikely still?
It said doubtful.
It's unlikely. Okay.
It's not going to come out official until about 12 o'clock, but I got multiple.
I'm not expecting him to play. I completely agree.
Multiple reports from Twitter saying he's going to test it out, but he looks very doubtful. So I'll probably move up everyone up. In my 30th, instead of Jameis Crowder, I'll probably put Bruce Ellington, which will be someone that Scott's going to talk about very soon. So I got Robbie Anderson, Michael Crabtree, Kenny Stills, and Corey Davis with Jameis Crowder rounding it up.
All right, so my 21 through 30, we got 21 Amari Cooper. This is a bad matchup. I probably would have him higher, a little bit higher on a normal week-to-week basis, but bad matchup here. 22 Michael Crabtree. I think he's in for a lot of work this week. Potentially 10 receptions. 23 Juju Smith. That's just because the targets are going to be there. Bad weather and everything we're expecting, but Juju Smith, he'll get enough targets to be relevant there. 24, Corey Davis. I'm actually pretty low on Corey Davis, so I feel like my ranking might be a little bit too high, but part of that's going to be is maybe he has a play with Marcus Mariota. I think talent might win out for this game, is what I'm saying. 25, Allen Robinson. I'm pretty low on Allen Robinson. We didn't get really to see him play in the preseason. I don't think he got any targets, so with him working in Mitch Trubisky as a second-year player, this is the first year they're together. Kind of one of the things where I want to see it before I'm going to rank him any higher. 26, Demaryius Thomas. He's a sit for me, completely sit. And 26, I'm almost be willing. This is a Broncos fan talking. I'd almost put him outside my top 30. That's how low I am on him for this week. 27, Devin Funchess. He's just number 1 receiver there, and you commented.
I'm starting him daily fantasy too.
Yeah,
so.
You commented the problems with the secondary in Dallas. So Devin Funchess 27. I actually had Will Fuller at 28. I was, if he's playing, Will Fuller, 28. Him and Deshaun Watson had that
connection.
Every other catch was a touchdown. It was insane. Kenny Stills at 29, and then he's 29. Devontae Parker's expected to sit. Kenny Stills will effectively be the wide receiver 1 there in Miami. And 30, I have Josh Gordon.
Which is rough.
He could finish as a top 10 receiver this week.
Which is where he's probably a lot of people. He's actually outside my top 30 because I just don't know. The snap count really worries me. To quickly go over the tight end, I'm not going to talk much of the tight ends. Obviously, just namesake volume. So I got Robert Gronkowski, Travis Kelce, Delaney Walker, Jordan Reed. I got Jimmy Graham, Greg Olsen, Kyle Rudolph, Trey Burton, Evan Ingram. Just because, even though I'm sitting him, just because he has a chance, get a touchdown. And that's going to make his day. Jack Doyle, Tyler Eifert, Eric Ebron, Ben Watson, ASJ, my bold prediction, David Njoku, Kittle, Clay, Ricky Seals-Jones, and Jared Cook, with Connor Bratt rounding out my top 20.
Connor Brait.
Bratt.
All right, it's Cameron Brait, actually, Connor. Rob Gronkowski, 1. Travis Kelce, 2. Jimmy Graham, 3. Greg Olsen, 4. Trey Burton, 5. I love me some Trey Burton this year. Delaney Walker, 6. Kyle Rudolph, 7. I think he'll have a nice connection there with your Kirk Cousins.
I do like Kirk Cousins a lot.
Jordan Reed, 8. Evan Ingram, 9. Tyler Eifert, 10. Austin Seferian-Jenkins at 11. I think, especially with Marquise Lee going out, I'm expecting quite a bit of workload here for Austin Seferian-Jenkins. And the Giants last year, the worst team against tight ends. Number 12, I got David Njoku. 13, O.J. Howard. 14, Jack Doyle. 15, George Kittle. 16, Ricky Seals-Jones. 17, Ben Watson. 18, Cameron Brate. 19, Jared Cook. And 20, Eric Ebron.
Quickly going over the defense, obviously Baltimore Ravens are the better matchup. They're number 1. New Orleans Saints 2. Jags, Vikes, Chargers, Los Angeles, Rams, Lions, Titans, Broncos. Carolina rounds up my top 10. And I got Pats, Steelers, Packers, Bengals, Eagles, Bears, Seahawks, Bills, Redskins, and Cardinals all rounding up there. Obviously the main one, defense you can stream. Baltimore's the best matchup right now.
Yeah, and they're fairly available too.
Yeah. So,
did you have Houston in your top 20? Nope.
I did not have Houston. Well, but you can. As I said, stream. You can stream.
Yeah.
I didn't have Houston up there because
I just wondering because typically Houston will probably be top 6 defenses.
Yeah, this is the Brady, the Patriots really scares me. But quickly will be defense.
Ravens, my number 1 defense this week. I actually really like New Orleans, number 2, Minnesota 3, Jacksonville 4, Rams 5, Lions 6, Carolina 7. The Chargers 8, Denver 9, Pittsburgh 10, and then 11, Tennessee, 12, Arizona, 13, Green Bay, 14, Seattle, 15, Cincinnati, 16, New England, 17, New York Giants, 18, Washington, 19, Dallas, and 20, Houston.
All right. That was our week 1 ranking, guys. We will do that every week along with Start Sit. We're going to lead off to a new segment. It's called Fantasy Leprechauns, Pot of Gold, Glory Pick of the Week. That is a mouthful, guys. That is a mouthful. This is the best where a player that Scott either likes a lot, that's in waivers, that he thinks is going to break out, or a player that's not really owned, that Scott thinks is going to do some amazing things this week. So I'm going to lead it off to the Fantasy Leprechaun itself, Scott Willer.
So this whole premise on this is, 1, let's get ahead of the waiver wire. Let's pick up somebody before they go off on the waiver wire. That ain't the case this week. This week it's more of a daily play or you're playing your buddy and you just want to play some random person off the waiver wire and you just want to say, I beat you with this guy that was only projected 4 points.
Yeah.
And this week, that's going to be Bruce Ellington, wide receiver of the Houston Texans. Daily fantasy, get him in your lineups there. He's cheap. Play him in daily. I didn't know this when I picked the player, but Will Fuller expected to sit this game. So now we got a wide receiver too, a guy that had a nice connection there with Deshaun Watson in the season last year that nobody really picked up on. He had a nice connection with him in the preseason. Everybody's still fading him. They're not talking about this guy. Bruce Ellington, you want a glory play, you want to play daily, get Bruce Ellington in your lineup this week. He's going to score a touchdown. He's going to get you 12 to 15 fantasy points this week, and nobody's on him. We have a 400 players totally owned in our Dynasty League. He's available for agents.
Actually, he was on my roster last year. I dropped him, but
yeah. He was the 49ers last year, and then he gets traded midseason to the Texans.
So that's Scott's Fantasy Leprechaun
Pot of Gold
Glory Pick of the Week. That's a mouthful. I'll get used to it when the season starts. But we're gonna end each episode now with our pick'ems. We do have a prop bet between me. We actually have 3 prop bets. One's gonna be more points per game average with McCoy and Joe Mixon. Same thing with Josh Gordon and Sammy Watkins. And then we're doing pick'ems. The loser has to buy jerseys for their other person. So we're doing our pick'ems. All right. So I'm 1-0 right now. Scott picked the Falcons. I picked the Eagles. So I'm up by 1. So I'm gonna go quickly over my picks, my picks, and Scott will do his. So
let's just give our picks with the game.
Sounds good.
Let's announce the games. Give your pick. I'll give my pick.
All right, so I got the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cleveland Browns. I got Pitt beating in a very close margin. I got Pittsburgh Steelers winning that game.
Yep, same sentiment. I think it's a lot closer game than people are talking about. if we were doing the betting line, I'd probably pick Cleveland minus whatever points that they give Cleveland. But head to head, Pittsburgh wins the game.
So Miami versus Tennessee, I'm going with Miami.
Miami versus Tennessee, I'm going with Miami. They're playing at home. It's a toss-up game to me. If this was in Tennessee, I'd probably pick Tennessee. But I think Miami is able to pull it out because they're playing at home, and the humidity and everything down in Miami gives Tennessee some problems.
Me and Scott probably both picked this one. Bills versus Baltimore. It's got to be Baltimore, so nothing to really say about there. Nathan picked City. Going with the Texans in New England. I'm going Texans. I think it's going to be a shootout, but I think the Texans will actually win this game.
Yep. So the Ravens are my survivor pick of the week.
Mine too.
Yep, absolutely. It's the easiest one. I tend to go easy in the beginning, extend it out, and give more clarity towards the middle end of the season. Just to have easier picks. More information there. Houston Texans and the New England Patriots. I actually have the Patriots down here. It's a close game. It's really a coin flip. I could go New England. I could go Houston. I'm going to go to New England, but really now today I'm thinking Houston probably wins this game, but I already have them locked in as the Patriots. I think Houston might win this game because the Patriots, they like to try things out early in the season, and they typically take a couple losses in September and find their groove and win a bunch of games middle to late in the season.
So I had an argument last week with the FOTP, but I think the New York Giants beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think it's a toss-up game. I don't think it's a shoe-in the Jags win. I think the New York Giants with the new offense acquisition, healthy Odell, I think they're going to win this game.
I also have the New York Giants beating the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, sweet. Nothing to say there.
I think the Jaguars are a better team this year. They just don't have a better record.
San Francisco versus Minnesota. I think Minnesota easily wins this game. I think it's going to be honestly, I don't think it's going to be close.
Completely agree.
All right, cool. Tampa Bay versus Saints. I think Saints win that game.
Not particularly close.
Okay. Bengals versus Indianapolis. As I said before, start your Bengals. Bengals win this game.
Completely agree.
All right. Kansas City versus LA Chargers. I think LA Chargers easily it'll be a shootout, but I think they win this game.
I don't think it'll be a shootout. I actually think they're divisional rivals. That they know each other very well. And I do think the Chargers do pull this game out, but I do think it takes a last-second field goal.
All right, cool.
24-21.
Dallas is Carolina. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I realize we have problems in our defense. I think Carolina wins this game.
I also picked Carolina. Oh, no. I picked Dallas.
All right, cool.
Well, that's shocking.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I also made these picks like a month ago.
Yeah. Washington versus yes, Josh, we did. Washington versus Arizona. I think Washington wins that game.
I think Arizona wins the game.
All right, cool. Seattle versus Broncos. I don't think Seattle starts slow. I think Broncos easily win that game.
Yeah, Broncos, like we said, first 2 weeks of the season, 59 games. They're 51-8. Denver wins the game by 10 points.
Sunday Night Football will be Chicago Bears with the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers at home. Green Bay.
Green Bay by 20.
LA Rams, Battle of California. LA Rams versus the Oakland Raiders. LA Rams win that game.
LA Rams.
And final off that was the first Monday night game will be New York Jets versus Detroit Lions. I think Detroit wins that game.
Yeah, I think Detroit wins that game, and they were the second team I was considering for the survivor pick this week. But like you said, Nathan picked City. All
right. Well, guys, that was it. As I said before, we appreciate the feedback. It was a fun episode. We had a lot of people watching at one time. We had up to 10 people watching at one time. That is a lot. We had a lot of people that were giving us comments and suggestions. We appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, I have one more topic that was wanted to be discussed by you in particular.
What's that?
They want to know your thoughts on the Serena Williams incident.
Oh my goodness. That could be my another what though. I was thinking about it. So
I didn't see it, so I'm
all right, so here's just a quick gist of it, okay? Serena Williams are playing against Osaka. I don't know her first name. I'm so sorry.
Japanese player?
Yeah, Japanese player.
Where's this event at? Is it in Japan?
No, it was in New York, U.S. Open. So what happened was Serena wasn't playing good, and the coach kind of did this kind of formation like this. And the rule in tennis is you can't have any hand signals or anything in coaching. So the umpire saw it. The camera couldn't lie. The camera got him going like this. To me, it's like calm down. Yeah. But for a lot of people that analyze tennis, that could mean go forward, go to the net. So the umpire saw that and gave her a warning, and she flipped out. She's saying she doesn't cheat. I have a daughter. I'd rather lose than cheat. And that kind of escalated it to where she lost her serve and she smashed her racket, which is normally how it is in tennis is a warning, point penalty, then game. Game penalty, then loss of match. It's like it goes in that order. So she already got the warning, and then she gets the racket smash, which is a point, and that made her upset. you can say what you want about tennis rackets. People do it all the time, but she got a point deduction for it. And then when she broke her, she went to the umpire and started bashing him, saying, "You're a thief. It's unacceptable. I don't cheat. I'd rather not cheat. I'd rather lose and cheat." And the umpire gave her a game penalty, and that was when she was on serve. So Osaka was serving for the match, and then so Osaka just won the match. So I disagree with the call. I think you can't make that judgment call as an umpire. To me, this is just calm down. Serena Williams has never, ever cheated. And fun fact in tennis is that the coach in between sets can actually go onto the court and coach them, but they just can't coach in the stands. And there's so many coaches that use hand signals like this. The fact that the umpire kind of targeted her in the Grand Slam championship is kind of unfair. I think it was a bogus call, but we've seen this before with Serena in the U.S. Open. She threatened a line judge before too. So when she loses it, she loses it. So I disagree with the call. I think it was a bullcrap call. I thought when that happened, Serena lost that match mentally. So that's my thoughts on it. Anyways.
That was a good explanation of what happened.
Oh, thanks,
I didn't
man.
see it. I didn't watch any of it.
Appreciate it.
I completely got the visuals and understand it now. I completely agree. When you were doing this, I was like, "Oh, that's Coach Deuce saying, calm down."
Yeah, bottle it down. Anyways, guys, we appreciate the feedback, comics. Follow us on Podbean, Google Play, iTunes. We're going to upload the audio by 12 o'clock, so the people that don't watch a live stream can at least listen to some of the audio, maybe make some lineup of judgments accordingly. Check out Big Cat Country, as I said. My start sets are going to be up there. Other than that, guys, I appreciate the watch. Make sure you set your lineups. Give me a piece of paper so I can throw at the camera. Thank you, sir. All right. Set your lineups at 1 o'clock, guys. Happy fantasy.
You suck.